This is the 313th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the 19th week of April, May, June 2020. This episode is titled COVID-19. CloudFocus Weekly is brought to you by the new Clone This User. Duplicates you love. We've rebuilt Clone This User in Lightning and it now works as a component. So it's super cool. Throw it on your homepage and get the cloning available for free on the App Exchange or www.clonethisuser.com. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me virtually because of the foresaid double bad cold or virus 19 or COVID is Justin Elston. Justin, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just great. Just really, really well. You know,
man. So we literally are recording this via remotely. We have not done a remote episode in
10 years,
a bajillion years,
maybe eight years, 10 years,
maybe. We are socially distanced. So we have video going on one side and we have our little app on the other. We are both at our homes, with the joke being that we are, 10 floors away from each other. But we are socially distanced. And we blame COVID-19 on the entire reason why we haven't done one podcast up until this point. So
yeah,
like many things, even though this thing really didn't hit us until February, March, we're going to blame everything on it. So because we haven't had a whole podcast until the 4th month of the year, that is definitely COVID-19. It's not that we just were lazy, and it's not that we were super busy at the beginning of the year, and it's not that, whatever. It's definitely COVID-19.
Definitely.
So
there's no other thing I can think of.
So I thought maybe just because it's been so long and we're basically just testing this out. So we're just testing, is this actually going to work?
Oh yeah.
So
we should tell people what we're doing.
Oh, well, what do you mean? We're recording a podcast.
Well, what are we doing? Like, how are we doing this? Because it's not what we normally do. I mean, so everyone knows who's listening that we are usually sitting next to each other or across from each other in a table.
That's correct.
With our laptops open and microphones in front of us. But clearly that's not happening today.
Well, yes.
So what are we doing?
So we're using a new piece of software, which, you know what, you can make it your pick of the week if you want, because I can clearly see you don't have one.
I have so many picks.
Called Squadcast, so the joke is, while we have not done any podcasting, I think I've been on 3 different podcasts this year alone.
Hey, you keep cheating on me.
I am. I've been cheating on you bad.
That's right. They can have you.
So let's see. I did one for the Omni Show. And then I did 2 for Forcepreneur. And then didn't one other I record in December and come out? Anyway, I think there's 3 podcasts that have come out this year that I'm on that weren't this podcast. So that's kind of cool. But one of them I use.
So if you want your Jason Atwood fix.
Yes. If you want to see what it is to listen to me not talk to Justin and me talk to somebody else, go check out those podcasts. And maybe I'll put them in the show notes, or I don't know, whatever. You can go click on the show notes.
Just
show notes.
Google Jason Atwood.
Just Google me on the podcast. So one of them used this software. So as we were, again, we did start the year kind of like, hey, I'm going to out you because we did say we're going to do 20 podcasts this year.
That was my bad. I said, we need to up our game. We're called Weekly Asterisk. We should try to be closer to weekly. We don't have to be weekly, but maybe like every other. Or like
20 is not even, that's like every other.
Not even the number I said.
Yeah, it was 20.
I said 30.
No, I did.
You disagreed and said no. But
and
I was like, we should do 30. So here we are, number 1.
And I still managed that we could have got to 20. We could have got, or we still can get to 20.
We can get there. We could have gotten to 30.
We're going to have to do some, so we have a plan to get to 20. 30. We have a plan to get to 30. But anyway, so what I thought we'd do in this episode is really just
been on sabbatical.
So we're using this because it's one. I've looked at 3 or 4 different versions of software. This one seemed to be the best. I tried it with another person.
Did you name it?
It's called Squadcast.
There you go.
So what it's doing is we have a video that's going, just for those who are paying attention. We have a video going. It's kind of like Hangouts.
Kind of neat.
What's neat is it's recording either side in its own audio, which is good because that's exactly how we put it together in GarageBand. Normally we record directly into GarageBand and just go for it. Now we can't do that, obviously. So we are recording into this, and hopefully, again, if you ever hear this, you'll know it worked. If you don't, if you never hear this, then it's another lost episode.
If you hear this and only hear one of our voices, fine.
You'll know why, right? Well, then we'll go back to like recording a FaceTime video or something. I don't know. So we're going to try this out. But since we're back, and
do you remember our first podcasts?
Our first.
Do you remember how we did them?
Yes, we did them over Skype.
That's right. And we had recorded ourselves on each side, and then there was like a Stitcher app. Remember that would like stitch the two audios together? Right. Split them out. Yes. Only take my side, only take your side.
Yeah.
Create two tracks.
You would send me, we would both record our sides in audio. Then you would send me the audio. And back then with bad internet, it took like a while. You'd send me the audio, and then I'd use this software that literally broke the audio from either one of us. So to 4 tracks. And then I would take my track on my side, your track on your side, and I'd stuff them back together into GarageBand. We did that for a couple of years, like 2007.
Yeah,
8, 9,
way back, probably for 3 years, I think.
On the other podcast, and then this one, I think we'd already gotten to doing it together.
That's right
at that point. Which, by the way, we're coming up. July is going to be our 10th year anniversary of doing podcasts. This podcast
in July.
Yes,
well, that's kind of why we're doing this one, just to keep it going,
just to make sure we don't come back to the 10th.
So that we don't come back in July and be like, "Hey, everyone. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Haven't seen you in a while."
So I figured, since this is sort of a 4-month catch up, we don't really have much of an agenda. We'll get back to agendas. We have a whole series. I came up with like a list of ones. We're going to do some interesting, like kind of old school ones. We'll do some, like, we'll come back. We'll talk about summer. We'll do some more. We're going to kind of split it up. I think that's the way to get to 20 this year, is we're going to split it up and do some that are timely, that are about what's going on in the world. And then that will get released immediately. And then we'll do some that are more, we could record them a month ago or 2 months ago or 10 months ago, whatever. They're just about some sort of topic, and we'll talk about it because we've looked over the data and really
recorded this one we recorded 3 months ago, and we're just predicting this COVID thing.
Oh, if we could have made some money on the markets. Everybody who's invested there's volatility, I guess, stocks you can go into that you make money on volatility. And so people made a lot of money on that. Anyway, so what I thought we'd do is just do a little catch up, literally record, 20, 30 minutes of us just saying where you are, what's going on, how are you surviving, what's your life like, and kind of catch up. And then, of course, we'll just talk about Tiger King, because what else is there to talk about?
Cats and kittens. They're all
cool. You already made the comment. So, Justin, how did your last 4 months?
Oh, man. Strange, to say the least. Obviously, everyone's been going through strange times. Since we're all buds and pals and family here on the CloudFocus Weekly podcast, I can give some insight or inside view into my last couple months. So I had surgery in February.
Yes, you did.
And it was one of those elective kinds that they're no longer doing. And it occurred on February 25th. So like if it was scheduled like 1 or 2 weeks later, it might not have even happened. Probably wouldn't have. So my recovery has been weird, because I had this surgery, and then it's a hip surgery that I have to recover from. And I had to go back to hospitals at times where I did not want to be in hospitals, and have been doing physical therapy over video share. So it's not like Zoom or nothing commercial. It's called Better PT.
Better than PT.
Yeah, you go in and you share video, and then all of a sudden there's your physical therapist, and it's them on the other side, human, hello, and they're just watching me like do stuff. They can't touch me or stretch or do any, like, that's a big part of the recovery. So it's been a little weird for me. And because of that surgery, I've been indoors. I'm now in week 10 of not being outside. I've been outside less than 10 times in the last 10 weeks.
You were sheltering in place before people were sheltering in place.
Yeah, I was a trendsetter. I was a trendsetter on the sheltering. And I was more settling in place, but the sheltering in place as well. Yes, I was way ahead of the game on that.
I remember the days where I could actually come visit you. Wow. Remember those days?
Yeah, I used to come down and like ice and all that fun stuff.
Bring you ice.
A lot of binge watching television. And then that kind of came to an end, which is weird because of what's on TV. We've stopped like binging through and have started getting sort of distracted by like the everyday goings on television. And it's just sort of on in the background and we're not paying attention to it. It's weird. It's like, we're not focused in on like trying to watch a TV show. It's kind of hard right now. Although I will say I did get through an awesome TV show that just ended this week called Plot Against America that I would highly recommend for anyone listening who has an HBO subscription.
Excellent. Yeah, well, the best fun, I mean, this all did happen while in the midst of your surgery, and towards the end of it, my favorite, well, not favorite, but fun fact was that as the virus started to hit in New York, and just to set the scene, I don't know if everybody knows this. If you're listening, maybe it's the first episode you ever heard. Both Justin and I live in New York City, so we've been here kind of what is, I guess, the epicenter at this point. And so as it hit, and we live in the same building. So if you don't know that, we live in the same building, and as Justin needed to go to the hospital, I guess, Uber stopped working, and they really started to lock down the city. And so for, I think, twice or three times, I would drive you into the city and to the hospital and drop you off. And then I'd actually go down to our offices, just run in there just to, get the mail and come back out, and then run back and illegally park. But it is, for those out there in the world and haven't, or maybe hearing about New York stories, it's a very strange place to be in right now. I mean, New York, I've been into Times Square. Our offices are in Times Square, so I have to go in at least once a week to get the mail. And you can drive into Manhattan in the middle of the day, go through every street. There's no traffic. There's almost no one there. Times Square is completely open. I can park right out in front of our building, which, if you know New York, that's like, no, that's impossible. You can't park. There's no parking. If you park for 2 seconds illegally, you're going to get arrested immediately. But there's no parking anyway. But literally no one on the streets. Walk in, park, jump out of the car. I run upstairs, run downstairs, gloves, masks, the whole thing. But I was driving Justin. I was a hospital service driving Justin back and forth to his appointments.
It was mostly because, well, one, super helpful, and two, it was my own. I did not want to get in a cab or a Lyft or an Uber, and the nature. Choice. Yeah, I think so, and the nature of having surgical procedures on your legs make it such that it's really hard to get around. so you need to be in a car. Can't really get anywhere any other way, and wasn't going to take some cab that who knows who's been in.
It's interesting, though, as we go back, and I'm, again, we're not kind of looking at what COVID is and what it means, but even going back to my wife and I had a concert ticket to Celine Dion. It was just as it started to hit. It was just coming to New York. We're starting to get cases. It was no lockdown, no shelter in place, but it was like maybe a week and a half before they really shut things down. And it was on a Thursday night. I remember we were both kind of just tired. It was just, long days and lots of other stuff going on. It's not like the world was kind of going crazy. And we'd had these tickets and we really wanted to go because we had gone years ago in Vegas, and like, oh, I want to go, but, sort of the uncertainty. And we kind of decided not to. We said, you know what? I don't know. There's this thing coming and people are getting sick and, maybe being in a big crowded space. And now looking back, like, I'm so glad I didn't go. I mean, I can't imagine how galactically stupid that would have been if I had gone to an indoor concert and sat with 50, 60, 70,000 of my closest friends. And I mean, what the precautions we're taking now with gloves and masks in our building, and our lobby is covered with signs. You can't enter our building without a mask on. They're in our elevators. And to think what we didn't know, 5 weeks ago, when they were saying, oh, you don't need a mask unless you're sick. And now they're like, you need a mask no matter what. I don't care where you are, put on a mask. So even even driving you back and forth to the hospital, like, we didn't wear masks. Like, I didn't make you wear a mask to get in the car.
No.
If we were to do that today, you and I would both be wearing masks.
Oh, we'd have to. We wouldn't be allowed to go outside.
How the game has changed so quickly. Anyway, it's crazy. I kind of wanted to just give, we've been kind of going through this. I know everybody knows we're from Arkus, and this is not really an Arkus podcast, but some of the stuff has been really kind of monitoring and working from home, which is interesting because we're a work from home company. We always has been. And as we went into this, I was, when it was like, everybody's going to work from home, I'm like, oh, that's not really going to matter, right? Because we all work from home. I've worked from home for 10 years. I've literally worked from home for 10 years straight now, almost coming up on 10 years in June. And so I was like, oh, that's not a problem. Like, I think Arkus is well set for that. We all work from home. What I didn't calculate in, and what was a struggle and still is a struggle, is that we work from home, but our families and partners don't. And so it changed the game when, okay, great, I've worked from home 10 years, but I haven't worked from home 10 years where my daughter is in the next room 24/7 and my wife's in the living room 24/7. And like, that wasn't a factor. I never factored that in, that you have other people. I mean, I go see, my wife's on Zoom calls for her work, and there's just kids crawling all over everybody in the Zoom, and everybody's just holding a kid or a pet or something, or telling somebody to go quiet down. That's the thing I just hadn't thought about. Like, when we said, oh, it'll be okay to work from home. And so having the other people in your life also have to work from home makes work from home very difficult, or very different than I guess we had thought it was going to be.
Do you know what the killer app is for working from home?
The killer app for working from home?
Door. A door.
It's an app. Yes.
Yes. A door. You need a door that you can close and say, if this is closed, don't come in here.
Since at the week is a door.
It's a killer app for working from home.
Again, 10 years, I'm staring at the door right here, and I've been used to this. I work in this office. It's called the Den because whatever, there's a whole political thing behind it, but it's the Den.
There's a
There is. The political thing was,
please explain the political thing, because as we're here in this COVID-19 situation, lots of political things going on. Explain the Den office politics.
The family politics around the Den and office. An office is somebody's. It's your office. It's my office, right? You call it my office or your office. It has an ownership to it, right? A den is a public space. And so when we originally, built the Den, this space that was originally I didn't work at, because I've had this space before. I worked from home when I was still working at the big company that shall not be named, which might not even make it in the next couple of weeks. It was called the Den because it was a shared family space. Then, of course, I started working from home 10 years ago, and it's really become more and more and more and more and more mine. So it is, I think, soon close to, I could have a renaming ceremony and actually rename it the office. And then I could call it my office. But right now it is still kind of call it the Den. But you're right. The door is
the door. It's such a big deal.
Crazy.
It's such a big deal. It's closed. Please don't come in here.
Yes. Or at least knock quietly. Or if you hear me or talking or not talking, yes, there's new rules. And I will say, before COVID, I never closed the door. I'd keep the door open because no one was here. There were just no one's in the apartment. I was home alone with whatever. And then now, of course, it's like the door is shut constantly. It's like, stay out of here, because everybody else is here. But just as an update, we, friends and family and everybody I know, I don't have any close friends who have caught or who are sick. I have friends of friends, and certainly the circle's getting closer to me. Like there's a friend of a friend who we were on a trivia the other night, and they were recovering. They were in bed, and it had been 2-3 weeks. But from us standpoint, and I think I know from you, but like we are, knock on wood, we're doing pretty okay. Other than the physical, the mental anguish of being trapped at home. But
I'm gonna actually try to go outside later for the first time in a very long time.
It is a nice day out today. It's gonna be tough.
I need the sun to like just hit my body because it hasn't been touched in a while, which will be nice. Also to feel the breeze.
You have windows in your apartment. You can open the windows, right?
Yeah, the windows can be open. Then things start flying around. It's weird. It's very strange. So I see in your agenda here, catch up. We're going to talk about blog stuff, but
no, that was not
at all. No, we won't. Okay. If you want to catch up on our blog, go to the website, arkusinc.com.
We'll do it.
Click on the blog and go read it.
Blog catch up. We'll go through.
Catch up. Subscribe to it. You can get it in your email. It's a newsletter now, so just subscribe to it. I do see, however, in your agenda that there's a television show listed in your agenda. Well, why is there a television show listed in your agenda?
I was going to give one other news, and then we can go talk about the television show, just because it is kind of a phenomenon at this point. But I did want to say, because of podcast listeners, and it did happen yesterday, and the family started kind of reeling.
Yes.
Yeah, is that
I did not want to bring this up. I didn't want to bring it up because of yesterday. It just happened yesterday, but all right.
Yeah. So if you're a longtime listener, one of the guest stars we've had, whether we wanted to or not, when we recorded from LIC1 or whatever, was Bird. And Bird was on many, I think 3 or 4 episodes, maybe 5 episodes.
At least.
At least sitting in the background. I know people.
Very rambunctious guest.
Comment on it. Where's Bird? Oh, I heard Bird. Well, yesterday, actually, Bird passed away due to not COVID and not anything else. But the vet said it was like some kind of like kidney infection or something. I mean, I don't know. They're little parakeets. Like, how can you really tell? Like, I don't know. But anyway, so it's kind of sad. The family's a little bit sad. It did happen just yesterday, which is a little soon. But that being said, in the world of pets, if you've ever been a pet owner, one of the greatest things to do after the passing of a pet, when you're ready mentally, and is to go get another one. So we will have more birds in our life. So there might be next time we do a podcast in LIC1, if we can actually do it together, you might hear multiple birds.
If we could do it together.
Yeah.
Hey, we can have 2. They're be buddies.
Yes, there might be 2 in there. So anyway, and then lastly, because again, this is just a test. Speaking of animals, hey Justin, did you see Tiger King?
That is one of the shows that I did watch during this time period. Yes, I've seen Tiger King. So
let's go. Should we go no spoilers, or should we just say from now out is spoilers?
I think. From here on, there's some spoilers, but like honestly, who cares?
Well, if you're interested in watching, there's one person out there who hasn't seen this. So for you, stop the podcast now, go watch, and then come back. It's only 7 hours. Don't worry about it, and then come back and watch it again. All right. So for everybody else who hasn't seen Tiger King, I mean, what a phenomenon! What a worldwide, or at least American-wide. I don't know. Let's say in the world.
Phenomenon. That's where you go. What a phenomenon! I would have went somewhere else, but all right.
It's a phenomenon. It is. I mean,
it's a crap show.
We've seen shows show up. Like we've had explosions of documentaries that were just everybody had to watch, and there's been movies like when.
I think Making a Murderer, right? That was a big one on Netflix, right? A good analog or whatever parallel to it.
or when they did the movie, they released the Bird. What was it called? Bird Box.
Right, Bird Box.
Too soon. When they released Bird Box, it was a phenomenon. Everybody watched it that weekend, and there's definitely been shows, but nothing like this. And it's an interesting. Obviously, it's fueled by not only it just being this crazy show that everybody's talking about, but it's also fueled on by this time in our life where people are absolutely locked to their house and they can't leave.
Yeah.
So you have these two things smashing together and going, wow. So you watched it. Spoilers ahead.
I did. By the way, I'll mention before, and I think I watched it before you did. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Same time, perhaps. Again, not relevant. I don't even think it's the best thing that Netflix put out this year in terms of crap TV that Netflix put out to binge through and watch. I do not believe Tiger King is
we're going to do an entire episode about streaming stuff. So we're going to do an entire episode of our favorite.
Tiger King excluded from that episode?
Excluded, yes. We're going to do because we're calling it out right now. But we're going to do a streaming whatever recap or what we're doing. We're going to come back with it. So you don't need anything else. You can come up with your list. I'm warning you now. So you can't say I just gave you 10 minutes. I'm actually giving you maybe a week to think about it. Yeah, I know. So,
okay. One of my picks was going to be a TV show to watch, something to go watch, but whatever.
I will say what I thought was interesting.
Tiger King.
And my connector to this was now I'm forgetting the stupid documentary, of course, the one that Netflix put out about the doping, the race doping.
Oh, yes,
it won the Academy Award.
The one that won the award and turned into, this is actually about a Russian doping thing.
That's what I find fascinating about this one. And also there's a again, not going to make my list at all because it's old, but there is one about flat earthers, a flat earth documentary. And what I love about a good documentary is one that, because as we've talked about before in our talk about documentaries, all documentaries have a bias, right? There's always something they're trying to say. Very few documentaries are just we don't care. It's like there's some sort of bias. And kind of the interesting part is figuring out what the bias is as you watch it. What are they trying to show you? What are they trying to explain? What are they trying to get across? Again, maybe not make you believe, but get across. What is the point? And I think in that one and in the Flat Earther one and in Tiger King, it's this interesting where the bias looks very straightforward when you start it. It's this is a documentary about a crazy person who runs this big cat, whatever zoo, and that's crazy. Oh my goodness, we're gonna see all about him in this big cat zoo and what goes on, and that's it. But then every episode, and this is where I think everybody's got to watch this. And what's fascinating about it is that every episode, it kind of goes, you turn another corner of the maze. And you're like, whoa, wait, this is now about this crazy thing. And then you're like, okay, it's about this crazy thing. Whoa, it's now about this crazy thing. And it's like, wait, what? I thought this was about cats and in captivity. And nope. And then the fourth episode, you're like, whoa, it's about murder. What?
It's about cats. It's about cats. It's about
this is mess.
Hardcore drugs. It's about guns, and murder.
Yeah, and murder.
And people dying.
Suicide.
Suicides and all
murder for hire.
And cults. And cults also.
And polygamy. And
all the good stuff. All the really good stuff.
And I imagine when they started filming, they're like, oh, this is going to be about this. And then they just kept turning these corners. And that's what's so fascinating is that every episode you're like, what? Wait, what?
Ooh.
What? How did we get from here to there?
Oh,
and then eventually you
killed them.
Yes, well, definitely. That is the biggest argument. There's the biggest argument in our
argument.
Family.
OJ Simpson said it, and he knows she killed him. If OJ said it on Twitter, then that's the truth. That's it. It's over.
Anyway,
OJ said it.
It is a wonderful way to get in this day and this what's all the things going on with us and this terrible time in our world, I guess I would say country, but world, there is a small piece of it that's nice to just kind of go off and put your mind in a time a long time ago, a year, that things were more normal, but not normal all the same. So if you haven't seen it, please go see it, or get your Netflix, steal it from your friend. I mean, don't do that. Sorry. This episode is sponsored by Netflix. No, just kidding. So, well, that's good. We got 30 minutes down. You just dropped off, or you're slowing down. Maybe it's our internet. We'll see.
I don't know. You're slowing down on my side. I think, whatever. This thing's interesting.
All right. So let's go for a pick of the week. Well, good.
All right.
We'll see what
I chose something to watch. And because I'm not going to pick this in our streaming show. So this is a movie. It's called Once Were Brothers. It's a documentary, and it is about the band. This is Robbie Robertson's
what band?
The Band.
No, what band? What was the name of the band?
The Band.
Wait, no, I'm talking about what's their name. I get it. They're a band. What's the name of the band?
Simply the Band.
Simply the band. Simply is the name of the band?
No. Let me start over. Okay. When I say quote, that's where the start of the band, the name of the band comes. And when I say end quote, that's where the end of the name comes. All right, ready?
Simply the quoted band?
Ready? Quote, the band, end quote.
It's very long. Quote, the band, end quote is a very long name.
It's a little confusing. But anyway, they're my favorite band of all time. One of the best music documentaries out there, called The Last Waltz, which was directed by Martin Scorsese back in mid 70s. And Robbie Robertson, who was one of the leaders of the band and their main songwriter and guitar player, put out a book and a documentary to accompany the book, which is basically the story of the band, which he has never told. Levon Helm, another member of the band, has told this story a few times, and he has his own bias, Levon, as he tells the story. So it is interesting to hear Robbie's side of it. And it's also a very interesting just story in, first of all, I love the band as musicians, and as if you're into that, cool, you'll like this. But I've always loved the band because they are a band whose music is better as a team, right? They're greater, the sum of the parts, or whatever that saying is, right? Individually, probably not going to make it as like individuals, but as a group, they were incredible. And I really just love that aspect of their brotherhood, their team mentality around their very, very, very strict focus on the music that they were making. And I thought they made great music in the mid 60s to the mid to late 70s. So Once Were Brothers, it is only available for rent right now on Apple TV for $6.99 because it's still like making the rounds in the circuit, or it should be, because it's trying to go through the festivals, the movie festivals, and obviously those are not happening. So this is the way to watch that film now if you want. Nice.
I changed my pick because I was going to pick a piece of software, but I've picked before, but it has a great new feature. But I'm not going to pick that. I'm going to come back and pick that later. I figured there's a fun trivia fact for me. I have only reread 2 books, meaning I've only read 2 books that I've read more than once. The first was Macbeth, because I had to read it for school, and then I read it again, and I think I read it again before we took the test. I read it 3 times, and it was for schoolwork. I don't know, maybe I liked it or something. I don't know, but I read that book 3 times. And this book, which I read the original version, and then he re-released it as a secondary version, and with like the director's cut version. And so I reread it, and it was amazing. Anyway, so I'm picking The Stand by Stephen King. I've been trying to get my daughter to read it, and I said that if she reads it, I will reread it again with her. I think it's over 2,000 pages. It's massive.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
massive.
no, done. That's a
But
challenge.
it's a great COVID-19 read because it is
It's
about
2,000 pages.
it's 2,000 pages. Well, it's because it's about a worldwide pandemic, but in the Stephen King universe. So
Did you see? I posted in our internal Slack social channel thing. I had found these puzzles that were like 40 to 45,000 pieces large.
Yes.
They were like Disney photos, Disney like scenes, and they're like
they were like
puzzles for adults. Puzzles for adults.
Yes.
And I was like, wait, that seems like a scary category to click on. It's like, oh, okay, it's Disney. All right, got it.
Oh, yeah. I will say we've been doing a lot of that. Like we have to pass the time. Obviously, TV is a big one. We have bought new puzzles. Of course, haven't done them yet. We have a puzzle that's a $1,000 burger that we want to give a shot.
I did my Grumpy Cat puzzle.
Yes, I know. You're doing a 35-person puzzle.
It's 100 pieces. There's 100 whole pieces. I sent you, and she knows, she's listening. I sent her a picture that I finished it.
Very nice. I will say the other thing that we're doing is it's kind of like a friend of a friend of a friend does it, but then we somehow got into the circle of it. The circle of trust is trivia. And this friend built these PowerPoint decks that allow you to do trivia over Zoom. And you do it. It's like it's basically Jeopardy style, but trivia. I'm convinced I'm working on doing it for internal for Arkus. We just have to get the right teams together. But it's a really fun basically it's the one thing to look forward to in the week. And on Saturday we've been doing it with weird participants and as a family, and it's been quite fun. So it's been there's some of that that's really nice about this is that we've been reconnecting with people we've never connected up with or wouldn't see, because it's just why would we see them? And now it's like, oh, because of this trivia thing, we see them more than we've seen them in months.
Yeah, my wife, she's really good at trivia, and she is part of a group that does movie trivia every Tuesday night now. So last night they were doing it, and they're a team. So they're on a Google Hangout together, the team. And then she was facilitating. So she's on Zoom and sharing. So she's on the main Zoom with the rest of the other teams that are participating, where there's only one person in there. And then she's facilitating on the back end with the rest of the group, like to get the answers into this Google sheet that they're all filling out. And I was listening. I was half paying attention, but they had 115 teams last night participating in this trivia. I was like, what in the world, huh? But she had like 6 or 7 friends. They were all movie people, and they're doing movie trivia.
The style we do it, it's really only 5 teams. You can have one, and to run it, you need 2 people to run it. You need one person doing the deck and the asking the questions and keeping order, and you need another person keeping scores. So it's all done in sheets, but it is a very intense way to do it. So
it's very intense to watch what they were doing. But it was very fast and very quick, and I don't know how they organized it, but a lot of people on there.
Yeah, this one is very small. But the fun part is that we now, because someone handed this to us and said, hey, and we enjoyed it so much, we've been trying to give back. So the family now, once a week, the wife, the daughter, and I get together and we make our own deck. So we each make a 5x5 grid. So in categories like Jeopardy. So whatever, 5 different categories, and then come up with questions 1 through 500. So different levels. And we have to build the questions. Then we come in and we pre-do it internally as a family. So I'll take my deck and I'll show it to them, and they'll kind of pick, and they'll go, oh, that's a hard question, or that's an easy question, or that shouldn't be a 200, that should be a 500. It's been quite fun, because that's how we've been bonding, is building trivia decks, which is kind of
whatever it is. It's fun things to do, and it is what it is. I'm terrible at trivia, but we at Arkus actually have gone out and done a trivia night before. We've done it ad hoc, and actually Sharon, the little lady, my wife, she was with us, and she dominated. She's really good at trivia. So it's kind of hard to play with her. She dominated. Arkus won, our team. We won, but if you ask those that were there, they'll say Sharon won.
She was the ringer.
She's kind of a ringer. It's like not fair.
Nice. All right. Well, let's hope this recorded. If you hear this, it's great. If it didn't, sorry. Then it's a lost episode. Follow us wherever you follow us, on the Twitter and all the places. Subscribe, LinkedIn, whatever. I'm going to try to make sure this episode gets up onto, this might not be the good episode to put on YouTube, but we're going to try to get them up on YouTube, because you can now put podcasts on YouTube, just put in like an image. So we're going to try to do that. We'll see if that works. Otherwise, we will be back 2021 with our one episode a year. Until then, Justin and Jason saying enjoy those cloudy days.